I know it's not an Advent story, but it's our theme Sunday. So each month we've been starting with a story around compassion as we look at compassion and its many forms throughout this whole program year. So today's story comes from the Bible. It's a story that Jesus told. It's a parable, and it's called the Prodigal Son. Many of you have heard this story, and maybe some of you haven't. It's a story about two sons and a father, and the two sons are different. They both work hard, but one day the younger son comes to the father and he says, "Dad, when you're dead, I'm going to inherit a lot of your money, at least half. Can I have the money now?" And his father says, "Yes." And he gives him the money, and the younger son takes the money and he leaves home. And he goes out into a foreign land and he spends all the money. He goes to parties and to bars and to restaurants and just spends all the money. He makes a lot of friends spending that money. But when the money's gone, his friends also are gone. And he finds that in that time, in that place, there was a famine and everyone became hungry and there wasn't a lot to eat, so he decided to work. He knew how to work, but he couldn't find a good job. He went to the worst job there was. He went to feed the pigs, which was unholy work for him. He fed the pigs, and one day he was sitting with the pigs so hungry that he wanted to eat the food of the pigs. That's disgusting. The story says he came to himself and he realized even the servants in his father's home, the people who worked on his father's farm, ate better than he did. He came to himself and he said, "I will go home and I will say to my father, I'm not worthy to be your son anymore. I will be your servant. I will work like the others." And so he decided to go home and do this. And he walked home, and as he was coming over the hill, his father saw him. And instead of locking all the doors, which some of us would do, he ran out to meet his son. He embraced his son. He said, "Welcome home." And his son said, "Father, I'm not worthy to be your son. I would like to be your servant." And father said, "You are my son." And they brought a robe for him and they put a ring on his hand and they threw a big party, a welcome home party. The father said, "My son was dead and now he is alive. He was lost and now he was found." Now remember the older son. The older son had been working in the fields and in the home the whole time. And so what would he feel when this no good son came home? He stood outside and heard the music and said, "What has happened here?" And the servant said, "Your brother, he's back, and we welcomed him." But the older brother was angry. He said to his father, "I've been working here all this time. I've been obedient, and this no-good brother of mine went and wasted all your money and then came back and you embrace him like a king?" The older brother was angry with this. How could that be fair? And the father turned to the older son and did what he did with the younger son. He said, "My son," he embraced him, "I am always here with you. All that is mine is yours. Your brother was dead, and now he is alive. He was lost, and now he is found. Let us embrace him as a family." That's a story about compassion. And it's a kind of compassion we're going to study this month. And all the classes, all the children are going to look at it, and it's also going to be a lot of resources to think about this story and ask it questions, because it's not the easiest story. And today in worship, we look at that story. Now, we're about to